Hello, my name is Thanyawat Srivajana and welcome back to another episode of RoTransWipe, the series where we yap about Roblox Transport Games. This time we're taking to the skies as we talk about Pilot Training Flight Simulator. Created in 2010, which is very old by Roblox standards, Pilot Training Flight Simulator, also known as PTFS, is a free roam flight simulator created by Orange12345. Clever name, I know. Where you can fly a variety of different aircraft and explore across a massive map, with a lot of islands to go to, of course. There are no objectives because it's casual, and most of the time the planes are completely free, so no need to worry about your wallets. And with the fact that it is so old, the fact, yes, it's 2010, I may not be able to cover this in one 15-minute episode, so just consider this as an overview of the game. So let's start with the Now, flying PTFS planes are relatively simple because the controls are easy. You just start the engine, increase or decrease throttle, and use your mouse or thumb to maneuver or turn your craft. Some planes may have extra features like carrier launching, refueling, and guns, but we'll talk about that later in the video. Let's start off with airliners. Yep, these things that you commonly associate with, of course, aviation. And in fact, airliners basically take most of the PTFS plane library. It's like 30 to 40%. From the tiny yet mighty ATR-72 to the average-sized McDonnell Douglas fleet to the bomb, the Embraer E190, the longer Boeing 777 and 787, to even the longer likes of the Airbus A340, to the jumbo jets that are the Boeing 747 and the Airbus A380, and the fastest of the bunch, Concorde, they constitute the more common planes people may fly when they start up PTFS. Now let's take a break here to talk about liveries. As you select your airliner, you also have to select the livery that you're gonna use. And because of legal reasons, PTFS liveries have some or a lot of modifications. In fact, they have to change the names of them. Like, for example, my home country's flag carrier Thai Airways is Thai Airways, Qantas is Qantas, KLM is KLM, Lufthansa is Lufthansa, and the most surprising of all, Aer Lingus is Aer Dingus. Now let's move on to cargo aircraft, basically just airliners without seats. Basically, with these things, you can now, according to the dictionary definition, ship cargo, goods, freight. While there are a lot of airliners that are commonly transformed to be cargoes, there are also specially made aircraft like the Airbus Beluga and the Boeing Dreamlifter, designed for the use in carrying aircraft frames and parts, to the Antonov AN-225, weirdly my cousin's favorite because it's the largest plane in existence, to the Boeing 747 because it has the ability to carry the space shuttle without the need for a game pass, and of course, it has the same livery changes, like how DHL is VHL, FedEx is TEDx, and UPS is SOS. Now let's move on to light aircraft. When it comes to small airport landing and short takeoffs, you can't really beat them anyways, because, well, airliners are very big. Like the DHC-6 Twin Otter, the Bombardier Learjet, the Cessnas. In fact, the Cessna Caravan also has a cute little brother that does cargo, as well as the Pipers, the very loud Cirrus Vision Jet, and the Extra 300s. But the Wright Brothers plane topping off this list as the oldest plane in the game. Now, in addition to these light aircraft, there's also amphibious versions of them. Basically, they can take off and land in water. And it's pretty versatile, even though it costs the Game Pass, unfortunately. Now let's move on to military aircraft. Oh yeah, don't mind my haircut, I just really like short hair, sorry. We're gonna separate these into two categories, modern military and old military. Basically, anything that was released after 1970 is considered modern. These planes are just fast, very agile, and just pure fun. From the likes of the Fs, the As, the Bs, and even the Eurofighters and the Sukhoi, with the latest being the Saab Gripen, they are purely made for combat but could also be used for flight formations, bomb deployment, and reconnaissance. There are also the Sentries and the Boeing C-17 Globemaster for cargoes. Now, in addition to the fleet of combat-ready aircraft, tankers are essential to the upkeeping and continued use of these fuel-hungry jets through aerial refueling, either by using a probe or flying boom. Now moving on to old military, this category comprises of planes that are legendary and could still be in active service, like the VTOL Hawker Harrier, the F4 Phantom, the Arrow Vulcan, the English Electric Lightning, the Mustang, and even the fastest of the bunch and my favorite, the SR-71 Blackbird. Moving on to another type of aircraft that can vertically take off and land, helicopters, usually used for small commutes and emergencies. Like the Bell 142, the UH-60 Black Hawk, the Chinook, the Airbus H135 and the Sikorsky S92, which could taxi. And finally we move on to the miscellaneous stuff, things that can fly for a reason or so. Like the Paratrike, the Blimp, the Hot Air Balloon, the Santa Sled, Derek's Creation, this unknown flying object, the Caproni Stipper, and the Walrus, with the Walrus being the fastest thing in the game. Now before I move on to the other stuff like the islands, the airports, and the other features PTFS has, I would like to talk about Gamepasses. Gamepasses are the main revenue source for these developers, and mostly they Game Pass lock some of the features as well as a lot of exclusive or unique aircraft. Such as the Blue Angels and Red Owls Game Passes, giving you the display team's liveries, the Airbus A380 Pass, the ATC is bundled with a free cam and a Game Pass, the Antonov AN225 is a Game Pass, the SR-71 Blackbird's a Game Pass, most of the miscellaneous aircraft, even the Walrus is a Game Pass, the F-16, F-22 and F-35B are Game Passes, the C-130 is, as well as the Chinook, there's the decently priced Coast Guard Pass, the Outfit Picker, there's the Seaplanes Game Pass, the Presidential Aircraft and Private Jet Pass, and finally, the Fire Engine Pass. I'll be delving into some of the Game Pass lock features later in the video. You know, there's a running gag in RoTransWipe that I've done for over 3 episodes already, and it's about the 1,000 Robux Game Pass that SCR has. Well, I'm very happy to say that, yeah, PTFS has the golden sum, as in, with all Game Passes totaling, and I did the numbers myself, I literally used Microsoft Excel for this, 2,505 Robux, with the most expensive pass in this thing being the Presidential Aircraft Game Pass. Surprising. Wow. Now though, let's talk about the islands, starting in random order. Firstly, the one, the only, Greater Rockford. This was the island that started it all. It is the most popular island in the game, the largest by landmass, and houses the busiest airport of the same name, home to 3 runways and 2 passenger terminals and 6 other airports. This island used to be one whole, but in a recent update it was turned into what I consider butterfly wings. It is home to 2 stadiums, 2 big cities, and a racetrack based on Interlagos, which someone bought I guess, and previously there was an entire railway surrounding Greater Rockford Airport, but oh well, with the new update it no longer exists I guess. Moving southeast is Cyprus. While physically larger than Greater Rockford, geographically it is actually the country of Cyprus but smaller, and has lesser vibes of a metropolis at the island's main airport Larnaca, which is home to the statue of Kota Kuti, who is Orange's brother and creator of Blood and Iron. There are lots of castle ruins and there is mostly small communities. The Mekono Air Force Base having the longest and widest runways in the game, and the Barra Airport with the most runways at 4, but they're unmarked because, well, it's a beach airport. Just northwest of Cyprus is Skopelos. It is the smallest island in the game. While having a small community, they have an airfield at least, so you can land planes there and explore more of the nature. Iserolani is up next, and its single mountainous region separates the 2 cities apart, as well as the independent island that is home to RAF Scrampton, and a sandy area that houses some pyramids and the Al-Najaf airfield. Yes, this was a short explanation because it's somewhat isolated, and sometimes this island is quiet. Next is Perth. Named after Perth, in Australia, it doesn't have the climate up down under, but at least has a stadium and a lost city area, as well as a few communities. And on top of the mountain, right there, is Lukla Airport. The airport with the highest elevation currently, but do be careful, it has a short runway, but still, you shouldn't park a Boeing 747 on that. Just north of the main island, a secondary island is home to the Sea Haven seaplane port, and it has been somewhat unpopulated until next is St. Bart's. Based on the actual St. Bartholomew Island, this place is also another where people often park their 747s, and also home to a lot of conspiracies, which could even spiral into a Netflix series. Ah yes, based on the land of the rising sun, Orange's mountainous regions make the island one unique beast. Home to an airport with a runway that's similar to Kaitak, as well as the shortest at Sawa, this region is mostly populated in the south in the area of Tokyo, where there aren't much mountains. The region also resembles, in my opinion, parts of Italy, and Tokyo International is the first airport in the game to have an artificial island for another runway. The island of Grindavik is exactly at the opposite point of Israelani, and is home to two islands, with the main airport having no jet bridges. It has one of two ski resorts or ski centers and is somewhat populated, with Tavara Sea Base just located in the other island. And finally, we get to the polar region of South Tempona. With the island being as cold, there's a ski resort or ski center, not much for population, and an airport that is at least decent for polar roleplays, but it may not really replicate Antarctica as much. Now moving on to airports. With these islands, there's a lot of different types of airports that you would encounter in the game. Here's a list of the types you're going to be encountering. Firstly, large or international airports. These airports commonly have a large terminal, one or few runways, and is the main airport of the island, usually having a large ground crew station where you can spawn vehicles such as a fuel truck, a stair truck, a baggage truck, a terminal bus, a fire truck, a follow-me truck, a catering truck, and 3 pushback tugs. These airports can let you spawn every available aircraft in the game. Moving on to medium or regional airports. These airports can handle long airplanes like the Boeing 747 or the A340, but they tend to be either the main or auxiliary airport of the islands. For example, Mellor, Papos, Satantona, and Grindavik. Next are small airports or airfields. Often having a focus on general aviation, these airports can only handle short takeoff and landing aircraft and are often small. Next up, military bases or aircraft carriers. These airports are specially intended for military aircraft and are often fit for accurate military roleplays. This also includes the HMS Queen Elizabeth and the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carriers, with the Gerald R. Ford having catapult and arresting cables for faster takeoffs and landings compared to the HMS Queen Elizabeth's slope. Next are seaplane bases. Seaplane bases are like ports but for planes, having the ability to cater for planes that want to go offshore. Next are Coast Guard stations. Coast Guard stations are designed for use with the Coast Guard Bundle Game Pass, allowing you to spawn helicopters made for the Game Pass and the only boat in the game, the Rescue Rib. All Coast Guard bases are the same. Finally, there are road bases. With the introduction of the Saab Gripen, these bases were the latest addition to the game and often use wide roads as runways, which are specifically made for landing these aircraft, and a small station for the planes to be refueled, moved, and be provided maintenance. There are also miscellaneous airports. Some of these types may not really fit with the other types, but here it is. There's a training center in Greater Rockford, with you being able to spawn a special trainee pilot airplane. The Oilwick has a helipad making it the early heliport, and the St. Bartholomew Island has an abandoned military base. Alright then, let's talk about the other features in quick succession. Firstly, badges. Alongside the roleplay mechanics of the game, P2FS has a lot of badges that you can collect by finding secret areas or completing a lot of tasks. There are over 45 badges in the game, with Greater Rockford being home to over 20 of them. That is so big for just an island. With 3 badges requiring the completion of missions, which is a very good segue to this next mechanic. Missions are basically missions. Well, they're often easy to do. There are checkpoints where you have to fly to. For example, a mission may be a routine flight from Island A to Island B, to even the hard ones like the Top Gun Special, to even the hardest, really advanced World Tour. Missions can sometimes be timed or aircraft specific, alongside the measurement of how long you've flown in minutes. there's also a count for how many missions you've done. If you want to get the most out of your PTFS roleplay sessions, there are also role-playing tools. These are things such as tickets, passports, luggage, parachutes, flight attendant stuff, and even marshalling sticks, which you can actually use for emotes. Now, for a game like PTFS, which prioritizes simplicity, I can understand why the UI features are so simple, no rounded edges or even that, but still, there's an upcoming update for PTFS that may change this. Now, moving on to aircraft features, the most known feature that is more advanced than the basic is advanced mode, basically disconnecting the rudder controls from the roll and pitch axis, therefore requiring you to use the A and D keys in conjunction with controlling with the mouse. Planes often despawn after 2 minutes and they could stall. Refueling the aircraft is simple because, well, you just put your plane near the fuel tank and wait for the meter to be full. These tanks are often located near airports, and speaking of which, most airports have jet bridges. These jet bridges allow you to deplane and board the plane without touching the outside world if you're prone to touching grass all the time. These jet bridges are adjustable, and there's even a dedicated one for the Airbus A380 at Greater Rockford. Yep, it's actually 2 jet bridges and 1 gate. Another roleplay mechanic is air traffic control. It's a Game Pass lock feature, but still, it gives you another way to experience PTFS, without using the plane of course. When spawning at any major airport, you may also stumble upon an ATC tower. Upon entering the tower with the Game Pass, you can access the tower and use the chat as ATC. Sometimes ATC could lead to very weird situations, but the best way to use it is to use it realistically. Another way is ATC radio, where if you have VC, you can connect to a lot of dedicated radio channels by using some kind of feature in Roblox's voice chat. And finally, the change outfit feature. Another Game Pass lock feature, unfortunately. Change outfit allows you to change your outfits to coincide with the roleplays you're gonna participate. But the fact that this Game Pass is only 15 Robux is the cheapest and the best way for you to experience wearing PTFS merchandise without breaking the bank. I almost forgot this feature. Aircraft can now have emergencies. Basically, you can disable the engines, disable the gears, or just disable the flight controls for more immersive emergency roleplay, but I mean, people really hate them, right? And also in VIP servers, they also have moderation tools as well as custom controls for almost everything in the game, such as how long until the aircraft will despawn, and the time and weather. Alright, let's talk about the community. Now, PTFS's community is just one cell in the larger aviation community, but it somewhat has its uniqueness, so why not talk about it? First up is the Pilot Training Club, the official PTFS group, showcasing the entire fleet of the PTFS planes in the Aircraft Showcase game and offering a progress report on the next update in the aircraft development game. And there's also a rank picker game because there are lots of ranks you can choose in the group, with the exclusive being the Elite Pilots rank, which requires you to fly over 3,000 minutes in the main PTFS game. In addition, joining the group allows you to unlock the Concorde and the P-38 lining, to name just a few. Alongside the Pilot Training Club group, there are also roleplay groups that act like airlines, formation groups, or even just pure roleplaying groups. And in fact, there's an FAA for PTFS, where they certify airlines and banish them, or banish people, when they break their joint rules. So therefore, it's a combination of a certification organization and an alliance. There's also ATC24, the official semi-realistic ATC roleplay server for PTFS. And as you can tell, you must follow ATC decorum and not just say, insert airline here requesting permission to take off, thank you ATC. Alongside the massive community of PTFS, several content creators have emerged that cover the game in a deeper level, and here's an example of a few that I would like to mention. Firstly, Wes Plays. Known for making their videos when he completes a subscriber milestone, he's most often known for actually making movies and rather not videos. Next up is Mr. Bulls Fan, another common PTFS creator you will see. He is, by his name, a fan of Bulls, more specifically the Chicago Bulls, but I hope he won't be fanboying Red Bull soon. There's Patron, aka One Patronomo, a content creator who is known for his masterpieces that are his videos. He used to be active till 2023 when he got involved in actual military activities, but has a very good documentary on PTFS, and he also ranked 20 Roblox train sims to focus up with RoTransWipe, but at least he has set good criteria. One of the game's coders, Sammy Sage, has his own channel. In fact, Orange also has his own channel, with both of them showing you the latest updates. And finally, and oddly, Danko was Broadcast. They own and direct the PTFS FAA, and they also make sneak peek videos. Man, I wonder, that's where I could see this. And yes, that's about it for Pilot Training Flight Simulator, and that was almost 20 minutes worth of footage, so congratulations on getting to this thus far. Covering every version of PTFS is really hard, especially with some of the updates being major or minor you don't even know, and even PTFS does not have a very defined versioning system, so therefore it would be pretty unreasonable for me to just waste my time researching all of that. So yeah, that was just an overview of PTFS. That's just basic thing that I could do. So yeah, that is it for RoTransWipe this episode, and I don't even know any ideas for the next episode, so I won't be telling you right now. So I guess that wraps up. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye. Basically